You're now listening to the Zod and Drea podcast.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome to the Zod and Drea podcast for Monday. Tuesday. June 26th. We are hoping you guys are having a great week.
And we want to thank you for listening as well.
So thanks for listening to the new podcast that's coming through to you. Once again, this is number 115, and we are still pushing. So you thought that we would stop after season 1, huh? Didn't you? Mm-hmm. They didn't realize that we were going to keep going.
New and improved.
They're like, God, these guys are still going?
New and improved.
These guys still have topics to talk about?
Why don't they shut up?
God.
No!
Because there's always something to talk about, of course. So, of course, we're going to wind up having some good stuff to talk about. But before we get into all of that goodness, what happened this last week? Anything good?
This last weekend. Gosh, why am I completely blank about it
I know
right
that
now?
we have had some good things with our nonprofit. Like we told you, we had a nonprofit Tomorrow We Vote. But there's some good things that are going to be coming out. So on that side of the fence, just make sure that you check out that website, .org, to see some of the events, and we'll love to have you join in. Of course, we can't be Zod and Drea there, but Brent and Andrea will be there.
And we want to give a shout out to everyone that went to Texas and to the border in Tornillo, I think it was. And to AZ Resistance, to friends and family that went there this past week. AZ Resist. Oh, I apologize. So shout out. Thank you for your sacrifice of going out there and making your voices heard. Yeah,
because obviously with the administration doing what they've been doing to the families, they're going to need a lot of support, and it's going to be a lot of more coverage and people just showing up at the border so that they know that they are loved. So we're hoping that's going to be going on.
So what are we talking about today? What are we sharing with the folks?
I say we're going to share some good stuff. So I say we're going to do something easy. We don't know if you know it. We don't know if anybody knows it, but what defines true love? Everybody winds up having their own definition, so we're going to kind of dive in a little bit just to see, where we're coming from. True love, what it is.
True love for all you Princess Bride fans out there.
Yeah.
True love.
All right, and then the second thing we're going to be talking about is, of course, the entertainment part is Luke Cage Season 2. So in case you haven't seen it on Netflix, came out June 22nd, and it is killing it. We had a really good time watching it. It took us about 2 days, two and a half days.
That's where our weekend went.
Yep, that's where it went. So sorry if we didn't make your appointments, your events. That's what we were doing, watching Luke Cage. And of course, the last topic is something that they're discussing a lot today, which is a call for civility, but at what cost and to whom? So that's going to be the main topic, and
this is going to be good.
It's going to be good. So let's get into it right now with what defines true love. Mm-hmm. This actually, the reason I brought this topic up was because of my friend Tara Flanagan, believe it or not.
Shout out, she's an amazing
shout out to my girl.
And human being.
That's it. Love her daughter, love her husband. Like, that's just family right there.
Mom and dad are cool too.
Mom and dad are cool.
Yeah.
Like I've known her since high school. And we got really close a few years ago. I'm not going to tell her life story or anything, but we just got a lot closer because she started living in Arizona, found out, and we just got really cool. And every time she comes to visit, we got to hang out. Loves Andrea, and like everything's good, aka Drea. So the thing is, the reason that this got brought up is because there was a discussion that I had on Facebook about it was just one of my random topics. If you're friends of mine on Facebook, you would know I put random topics because it has pretty good discussions that go underneath them. And she had not said anything, which was kind of funny because her husband was, but she didn't say anything. And she had written to me privately, a long email explaining all kinds of different things and why something I said hurt her. Something I said hurt her, which was just an opinion. Something I didn't even direct towards her, but it hurt her and made her rethink certain things. And so my opinion really mattered to her to that point where she wanted to write to me and I guess find out why it hit her to the core so much. And I felt that was so respectful. And you said,
she really loves you.
And like true love, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't necessarily have to be boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, something like that. But even between friends, just that true love. And I got that same thing with her because I think true love is based on a foundation of respect.
And when I look at your relationship, the way that you two are with each other, it's very much like sibling, like family love. Like it's like,
Yeah.
that's what it's definitely there. It's deep, and it's no matter where life takes you both, you two will always have some type of true connection where if you needed her, she would be there no matter what situation she's in, and vice versa.
And vice versa. And we're talking, we are politically almost opposites, but she wrote something today. She said, no matter what, our core beliefs are always the same.
Exactly.
And it's true. And I think that true love winds up being there even as a broader aspect of that. Like, so, not to drag her into all this, so sorry, Tara, and to drag her into that, but, even as a couple, respect is started. You start from the respect aspect, but it's also your core beliefs and what helps plant that seed and grow. And, bringing Tara back into the frame, knowing that I've known her since high school, since way back then, since the 1987 to date myself, or 1988 to date myself, I think. No, I'm sorry, 87 to date myself. That has expanded that long to grow and fester, and then it wasn't until we were here in Arizona. Like, it took whatever it took for us to get in Arizona together to it's not fester, but to fertilize and grow.
Right.
And think about everybody out there who is listening. Think of the people that you have in your life like that, where that true love is, where it's beyond the boundaries of politics, religion, any type of moral anything that you are raised into, but it's that family that you build yourself.
Correct. Like, an example for me is when I met Carrie, Carrie Mallory. We were both adults. She was, in her life and her career, and so was I, and we met 7 years ago, and she is one of my best friends to this day, and I love this woman. So shout out to Skirtla, Carrie Skirtla, and Mike Skirtla. Of course, I love you too. But Carrie and I, we both have shared this conversation and about how this is a love that we have for each other, where we both. It's kind of a love where they can be the most horrible person in the world, but yet we know to their core that is not who they are, and we know who they, like what you said about Tara, like to your core. Yeah,
it doesn't matter. Like my core, her core, it's that's where that heart. It's almost like a matching heartbeat.
Right.
Regardless,
so she knows that I could do anything, and she would still love me.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like no matter what, your heartbeats will heartbeat in sync. Just like you and my heartbeat will beat in sync. It starts from that foundation. So it's like the definition of true love to me is that foundation of respect and what you build on it and how you plan to grow. A lot of people do grow apart, and it's not that they don't love each other, but that true love, it doesn't matter what is between you. Right. Nothing can actually get that barrier in. And there, let's just say this. Sorry, Tara, but it won't be walls that are built. It will be bridges. That to me is that true love.
We could talk about this a whole other 40 minutes.
So sorry if I embarrassed you. I'm going to let you know. I'm going to text you later on and let you know that I actually talked about you this whole segment. But she was the reason why why this topic
Tara's
came
getting
up.
Spoiler alert.
I know, right? I love her. So entertainment. Let's talk about Luke Cage season 2. Oh.
Wow.
You know it? All right. So what do you think? All right. So do you think?
Okay.
All right. Let me ask you. So do you think this was better than the first season?
Yes.
Yeah, I do too.
I do. The storyline was it just took you.
And I love if you guys listen to our podcast when that first season came out, because I loved it. But this one was dope. This one, yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
The characters were developed. That's what the first season does.
Right.
You introduce the characters.
Right.
So
then
you
we had the Defenders. So we got some more of Luke, and then boom, Cage 2.
This happened, and it from the first episode is nonstop. It's a roller coaster of where you think where Luke is going as far as what he's going to become and what he's doing, and you're totally supporting, and some of the other characters, and all of a sudden people surprise you with their actions and their motives out of nowhere, and that was such great writing. I really loved
it was something really good, and especially like the introduction to some of the new characters. So of course, we have to have a few baddies. So some of the new baddies are like some of the old baddies, such as Shades. Shades is back.
Which I always did like Shades.
I like Shades. But
how you always kind of talk like this.
So why don't you do this, love?
I need his secrets.
And then, of course, Black Mariah is back after, Cornell had been taken out in season 1, in case you haven't seen it. So she expands upon his empire to make it hers under her family names of Dillard. I don't want to say Stoke, but of Dillard. And then the big bad. Let me see. I think there may have been one. I mean, they have a couple other guys like Cockroach, and they got a couple other and that one dude. Not Ray. Yeah, it was Cockroach. It was Cockroach. It was Cockroach. Cockroach was a big bad, but the big bad. Bushmaster. Like the name Bushmaster. And here's what was so ill about Bushmaster. He's this Jamaican dude with a whole Jamaican family, the whole 9 yards, who just wants his family what they're owed, pretty much. So he wants to come up to the top. So while we got this brother Luke Cage, who's bulletproof, taking care of crime, doing what he does, he's a hero for hire. That's what he is. He's Luke Cage, Power Man, hero for hire. This guy, it's not even so much that Luke Cage was his enemy. Luke Cage was just in the way.
He was in the way.
That was it. That was it. So this guy comes and uppercuts Luke, and Luke is not on some Debo, man, the Caprera.
Oh my God! Did you just reference Friday?
Because he was, Luke thought it was all good. Now he was caught, just to show you, he's caught off guard. He was listening. I'm not gonna tell you why he was caught off guard, but man, when he got
knocked the fuck out.
Yeah, he got knocked the fuck out. Give me my bike, punk. He took his bike, Bushmaster, and then you saw that Bushmaster was a formidable opponent. But it was the way that they, what was so ill. I got a dude, my boy, Basil. Basil is my man. I met him years ago. He's a rapper's brother, and I love this dude. This dude is hilarious. But he always posts up these videos with these, because they're Jamaican. He always posts up these videos with Jamaican cats with these accents, and it always, whatever it does, it cracks me up to hear these accents, because they're so hardcore, and you understand after a while the patois, and you can understand what they're saying, but it takes you a minute. What was so ill about Luke Cage was they had a whole bunch of patois in it.
Full on 20-minute scenes of just conversation going on with
no subtitles. They're if you don't understand it, too bad. As black as the first season was, this one was even blacker with all the Jamaicans speaking, no subtitles. And what was so cool, you want to talk about the music?
Oh my God.
We got 30 seconds to talk about it.
But not just that, the social issues. Awesome how they integrated everything that was going on now into the
They absolutely did. It's very relevant.
Internal racism going on between Afro-Latinos, African American. I mean, it's just so
everything. They touched on all of that. Just Mariah, how she grew up black, and they made fun of her. But the music in this is absolutely ridiculous. If you can, make sure you try to check out the season 2 of Luke Cage's soundtrack.
I know, I'm downloading it. It's so
Chris
good.
Tone Fishbone. We're gonna check him out.
Please listen carefully.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Zod,
And I'm Drea.
and we want you to check out the Zod and Drea podcast every Tuesday.
Where can everybody find us at?
You can always check us out on www.zodanddrea.com.
Where else?
You can always check us out also on Facebook at Zod and Drea.
Instagram?
Zod and Drea.
Snapchat?
Zod and Drea.
YouTube?
Zod and Drea.
I see a pattern.
I see a pattern. So if you haven't caught that, catch us at Zod and Drea on all the social networks. But also, make sure you subscribe to the Zod and Drea podcast. Where?
At zodanddrea.com.
And also on YouTube and iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. We're coming for you.
Let us know what you think. And if you want to be a guest, reach out to us.
And put all of your input into whatever our topics are for the week. So we hope to check you out and see you there.
Bye.
Okay, one more thing.
Real quick. 1 minute.
Misty Knight. This was her season. You don't understand.
Misty took over.
Just is the best. I want to be here for Halloween.
And I want to get her action figure.
And I want to get an arm like hers.
Oh, I definitely want an arm like hers. I am going to chop my arm off tonight.
Just to get it.
And do not sleep on the fight scenes, because we're still talking about Luke Cage real quick.
Oh, yeah,
All right,
sorry.
we got about 30 seconds. But then also the fight scenes, because Danny Rand comes through, Iron Fist, and he's not annoying.
I was so upset that I enjoyed the scenes.
The scene was dope, and I'm not even talking about the Bushmaster scene, man, the fight scenes. Anyway, make sure you check out Luke Cage Season 2. Make sure you check out the music. We got KRS, we got Rakim, we got this kid, Chris Tone Fishbone. We had
Marley.
The Marley, Samuel Marley came through. I mean, we got it all in it. We got
Oh my gosh.
Faith and
Faith Evans.
Jadakiss, like Ghostface Killer.
Oh my God.
Come on.
I'm so
Anyway,
excited.
sorry.
I wanna see it again.
We're going to see it again. All right. Anyway, we're going to get into this. Sorry, we just had to give a little bit an extra minute to Luke Cage, but we are going to call for this. Now, with the next 14 minutes will now be about a call for civility, and this is the topic, but at what cost and to whom?
So let's talk about what brought this topic in today.
Now, if you checked out...
a lot happened today.
Yes, if you checked out Twitter yesterday, then one of the top hashtags was hashtag civility. And the reason being because CNN, MSNBC, we don't mess around with Fox News because it's just state TV. But the middle ground and the left media was talking about civility. And it was kind of funny because when you saw this on Twitter, because even David Axelrod was asking about civility, it wound up because what's the name? Maxine Waters, Representative Maxine Waters had come out, Congresswoman, I should say. Maxine Waters had come out with a video where she was discussing and addressing a crowd to tell them to give orders to make sure that you stay on top of the Trump administration. If you see them in public, do not welcome them into any public areas where they're dining or she's pretty much telling us a call to order to make sure. But knowing what I know what she meant. And she was speaking from a person of color. She has been talking about this because she is a person of color who has seen this action by Trump before, from all of the things that he has said of people of color, from him just demanding to build the wall. Separating. You cannot call Trump a unifier. He is absolutely 100% a divider.
And how many tweets has he posted of him demoralizing her, calling her directly names?
Everything. Calling her, she
has been a target.
He's a bully. So she has been tired of it. The one thing the Democrats are pussies because they're always sitting there trying to take the high road. No disrespect to Michelle Obama because I know what she meant by take the high road. When they go low, you go high. And it is true to a point. It is true. The thing is, Republicans are never playing fair. They will take facts completely twisted. They will only listen to Donald Trump because whether or not you like it, the First Amendment is protected, and the First Amendment is truth. The media should be protected at all costs, especially those who do their homework. If the Wall Street, I think it's the Wall Street Journal, if they do have a 3,000 plus collection of lies that Donald Trump has told, and they have verification and cited sources on what he lied about, what he said, then how in the world is he able to call them fake news and have Americans believe it?
Right. There's video. There's documentation. What other proof do they need?
For anybody else to believe him, then, they would have to be in a cult-like or sheep-like state because they want to believe him in that. Any rational person would say, you know what? There is something wrong with this administration if they are lying to me this much and they are trying to get protection from 90% of the Republicans who are with him. There's a problem. And I don't care if you're a Hillary or Barack Obama or Bill Clinton. I don't care. If they are lying that much, if they are lying to you, to your face, and it's on video, and they say, no, I didn't say that. And then you have people saying, oh, well, I believe what he says because he tweets it out. He's right. And the news media is saying, no, it's right here. You do not judge the media for that. You applaud them. If Barack Obama, then I would have an absolute 100% problem with anybody who is an elected official who lies to me that much. So when Congressman Waters comes out and she tells for this, it's because of a response to the red hen kicking out Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
And earlier in the week, too, with the Secretary of Homeland Security.
Kirstjen Nielsen.
Department of Homeland, yep, when she was at, of all places, a Mexican restaurant.
Now tell me why that was stupid.
Because, first of all, it was the same day that she did a press conference defending the administration's policy that they have enforced to separate families, to take children away from immigrants coming from South America. Mind you, they keep saying the border, but what they really mean is the southern border. They don't talk about the northern border.
No, that's wide open.
No, they don't talk about all the other ports from
right
the other
the northern
sides
border.
of the country. They are talking about the border that separates the United States from Mexico. So yes, you have people from South America and other parts of the globe coming through that to get asylum, to seek help. Mind you, we've talked about this already, but it was regarding her policy, and the policy the administration then enforced. Again, there are laws, but it's how you deliver that law is what is upsetting people. And she defended why it was okay to separate children from their mothers, infants from their mothers, right? So, of course, she is seen why not be at a Mexican restaurant later on that evening in D.C., and you had some, I don't know if they were independents, I don't know if they were Democrats, they didn't say their party affiliate, but they were just not happy that she was there eating her dinner when there were children that are in pretty much detention centers where they actually are jails without their mothers, not even knowing when they're going to be reunited again, but yet she gets to have a nice meal in a very expensive restaurant.
And the thing is, the question that we have asked tonight is the civil call for civility, but at what cost and to whom? Now, the reason why I call the Democrats pussies is because we keep on stopping ourselves from going to the Republicans' level. And now let's think about it this way. The Republicans, the way that they come at it, if they are following Trump at 100%, or 90%, there are 90% he gets support of Republicans. So to me, they're all complicit in everything that happens. If you're like, you know what? Yeah, the cake that the gay guy, they shouldn't have, the guy shouldn't have to make a cake because his religious convictions. You know what? Then you know what? They should wind up asking him about all of his religious convictions. And who else does he not make a cake for? Mm-hmm. They don't do that. So
does he hate redheads?
Yeah. So, or is it just gay people? Do you not like divorced people? Because that is also the sin in the Bible. Do you not like people who wear cotton fibers and cotton blends? Because that's also, if men come in clean shaven, do you not make a cake for them?
Do you not give a cake for people that eat crab?
Or shellfish, or anybody who eats an animal that chews the cud. If you can't wind up just picking and choosing like that. But it's like, fine, if the Supreme Court thinks that, yeah, that's just perfectly fine. That's the slippery slope that they start doing. So how civil are you going to be? Because what this does then is it winds up allowing companies to not segregate, but to discriminate against individuals. This is a backwards policy then. It becomes a backwards law where we are getting what he wants, to make America great again. It's not great now, but we want to make it great like when it was at some point, which means rolling back regulations on things. Being able to pollute the ocean, pollute this, call Mexicans this and that, and make sure that they don't get in the country, keep the country as white as possible because, there's no culture in it. To make sure that, we don't have this, but, there's not a white culture that you can go and have a restaurant at. I mean, maybe, I don't know. What's a white American culture? Like, what is white American culture that you'd be able to actually jump into?
You can't say hamburgers because that's German,
You know what I'm saying? So, I think it is. You wind up having to choose. When you don't have a specific culture, you wind up alienating other cultures then. So, Mexican American culture, we know what that is because we eat at the restaurants. Black American cultures, you know what that is because of the slavery. We have certain foods that we eat and you go and visit those. We also got the music, we got dance, we got a whole bunch of other stuff. Japanese American, Chinese American, there's a whole bunch of other groups that there are their cultures. But when you think of white American culture, what is it? Because whenever you see it, you'll see a white person, they have cornrows. They'll have a grill in their mouth. Mm-hmm. They wear some loose jeans. Oh, they're twerking now. Right. They're twerking.
Yoga's everywhere now, which was
Indian. So, you wind up getting where they don't have their own specific culture. So when you either gravitate to others or you try to preserve what you can and you alienate others. And that's what I believe is what's happening. They're alienating others because it's an us versus them, and Donald Trump is now their leader. He is their leader in this take. So when you see somebody like Maxine Whiting, that's my mom. When you see someone like Maxine Waters saying, "Oh, you know what? You block them and everything. You do this and that." people were getting mad at her because she was acting like a Republican.
Mm-hmm. They're like, no, that doesn't apply to you.
Yet, imagine this. Imagine if there was no pushback. So think of, let's see, Nazi Germany. Hitler's just starting to come up. Would you not have wanted a Maxine Waters in your corner saying, hey, you know what? Look at these Nazis. Push back on them. They are dividing people. They're separating people. They want to build a wall. They're doing this, blah, blah, blah. And
but they're just following the law.
But they're just following the law. See, there's always going to be the following the law people, and there's going to be those who push back against it. Because
laws can be changed.
Exactly. So you would have wanted a Maxine Waters back then. Mm-hmm. The Japanese internment camps, you would have wanted a Maxine Waters back then. So everybody who was going up against her, who when she's saying civility, they're like, we need to have civil on both sides. No, you only have civility on both sides when one is acting civil. So if a rabid lion is running and charging at me, am I expected to come at it and try and fight and do whatever I can, or am I supposed to plead with the lion to what, please lion, don't kill me,
this hurts my feelings,
please don't. It's civil for us to sit. The lion's going to cut me up regardless. I am going to protect myself. If I have a child and there's a bully that is beating up my kid, I am going to tell my child to beat that bully down. I am not going to tell them to try to have a civil discourse and discussion with them. I had written in the article for this podcast, if you look at it on ZodAndrea.com, that people wanted 1963 Martin Luther King. They did not want the 1968 Martin Luther King. They also did not want the 1961 Malcolm X. Because the Dr. King in 1963 was a pacifist. And what do? You roll over pacifists. It's like, oh, he's such a nice guy. It took about, 60-something years before people respected him. Because now the same people who would have hated him back then all of a sudden love him. And they can't tell me that crap.
He's all on their Instagram.
All. But they didn't love Malcolm X. Because the brother said, if you smack me, I'm going to smack you back.
By any means necessary.
By any means necessary. So, in other words, you're not going to punk me. For somebody to be like, yo, let Donald Trump just punk him, because he's not going to change. So why in the hell should we? I don't care who gets elected in the midterms, to tell you the truth. You're not going to punk me. You're not going to sit there and beat me down, call me all kinds of names, this and that, and I'm not going to retaliate. So I applaud Maxine Waters for telling them, retaliate. This administration's been lying to you. They are sitting there and they are calling you a fool, and they are recruiting sheep and people to believe in them, even though they are 100% on the wrong side of history, because 50 years from now, we are going to read it exactly like we do the Japanese internment camps, exactly like we do the Holocaust, like we do in slavery. And anybody who's complicit then will all of a sudden have children who say, oh, if that were me, I wouldn't have done that.
The world is watching. The world is watching.
I'm sorry, I've been killing it, so you take the last word.
What is predicted, what generally may happen soon, is Mexico will no longer, they're not going to take this anymore. They're not going to be beaten up like they're this redhead stepchild and that nobody wants them. Bullshit. The United States demanded their services. They created this demand. So you know what, in Mexico, you as a country then, fine, don't bring anything over here to the United States. See what happens. See what happens.
Oh, the economy will be destroyed.
See what happens to this country.
You have about a minute left. Make sure you discuss about the lady in the video.
Oh my gosh. So over the weekend in California, Mr. Guzman, who is a United States citizen, Mexican-American, college graduate, was with his mom doing some landscaping business on the side. And then this woman out of nowhere, this white woman, comes up, starts screaming and yelling at them, calling him rapists, calling him thieves, calling him every
putting
name
the middle finger in his face.
In his face. And he's calm, and his mom's filming this. And
he's civil.
He's very civil, and he's asking her, why do you hate me? Because I'm Mexican. And she says, yes, the president said you are a rapist. You are criminal.
I don't know if she said the president said.
Yeah, actually.
She said the president said? I know she said. And he said, she took pretty much the words that Trump said.
And he said, so you believe everything that's on TV? You believe everything that you see? And she said, yes. That's what's happening right now. That is what's happening. And people, we just can't stand for. We are not going to stand for it very much longer.
So the people who are going to wind up being hurt, the cost of it, are the people of color. There's going to be a big division in this, and we're going to start a civil war on it. People are going to blame people of color, and they're going to think Trump is some sort of a hero. But, you know, these days we're taking down Confederate flags because we realize they are not heroes. So, whatever side of history you think you're on right now, it's going to be determined. So make sure you do write your name in big letters on wherever you can. Because if you are following this administration in their lies and their deceit and their cult-like manner, then you are going to be on the wrong side and your name will be dragged through the mud. And I'll make sure that it is.
We always ask at the end of every episode, tell us what you think. And I call it episodes. I want more than ever a call to action. Let us know your thoughts. Do you think then, what are your thoughts and what are your suggestions on how to move forward? Is it everyone's going to keep badgering each other, calling each other names, harassing each other? Or do we find a middle ground? Whatever that is, I don't know. Let us know what your thoughts are.
All right, make sure you check out www.zodandrea.com and make sure you go to Patreon to see about donating some money to us. All right, be a patron. I'll talk to you later.
Bye.